It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Hello and welcome to Countywide. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Jen Cohen. Today we'll be talking about Boys to Men. It's an amazing organization that's expanding its services here in the Verde Valley. If you want to check it out, boystomenaz.org. Go to the website. Great website. All kinds of things to click on, everything you want to know about the organization, about volunteering, about events, about donations, about anything you need to know, boystomenaz.org. We're here with Charles Matthews. He's the Executive Director of Boys to Men Northern Arizona and also a volunteer chair for Boys to Men USA. And we have Doug Eagan, who is a volunteer with the organization. Thank you, fellas, for being here.
Thanks so much for having us.
Absolutely. Okay. Charles, tell us, what is Boys to Men for someone sitting out there?
Great. Yeah, Boys to Men is it's a national organization now, but we're centered, our community is centered in the Quad Cities. And we do rites of passage weekends for teenage boys and also long-term, what we call water on stone mentoring. We're in the schools, we're in the communities, we're doing service projects. And basically what my job is, and my team is, we recruit wonderful volunteers to get back in the lives of boys. And we know that teens need group mentoring rather than one-on-one mentoring so that they can build strong peer relationships as well as relationships with multiple adults in the community, so that instead of sort of being hidden in their own lives. I mean, teens need to separate from their parents, but we don't need them to separate from the community. So that's why we feel really strongly about volunteerism and volunteer mentors and being out in the community.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Now, rites of passage, tell us, what does that mean?
Sure. So the Boys to Men rite of passage is been around for 20 years, and it's modeled loosely after traditional rites of passage where every kid in the community at some point got pulled away from the village and taken out into the bush or taken out into the desert and had to have some sort of challenges, some sort of deeply meaningful experience about finding out what they were capable of and capable of change, so that when they came back, the third step is this reintegration into the culture. Okay, now you're different. Now you're taking on the traditional adult roles. And that was relatively easy when you were 13, 14, 15 and could chuck a spear at a lion or you know or get pregnant and be a mother in the community. It's more complex in modern culture. So the rite of passage that we have developed, and Doug's a huge part of how we're always tinkering with it to try and make it a little bit more meaningful, a little bit better. But we work with boys, we work with slightly older boys for that program. Boys come into the adventure groups, which we'll talk about in a second, be 13, but the boys come into the rite of passage, have to be 14, and they have to be ready. We ask them, you ready to take some steps away from being a little boy, away from the idea that whatever diagnosis you have defines you, away from the idea that somebody's going to take care of you for the rest of your life, and take some steps toward a meaningful, healthy manhood. And if they go, then we go, okay, next year. If they're still digging in the dirt with a stick, we're like, that's awesome. We love digging in dirt with sticks, but let's wait. But if they say they're ready, then we do a bit of a separation. They leave their home. They come up to a summer camp outside of Prescott, and we do these really carefully scripted, carefully designed activities that are centered around these three questions. You know, where are you now? What's your life like now? What secret are you keeping that's holding you back? What trouble are you dealing with that you don't want to tell anybody about? What kind of man do you want to be? And we work really hard to model a healthy manhood that involves vulnerability, that involves strength, that involves communication, that involves joy, that involves being open to all of the emotions. And the young men want that. That's not new to them. They know that they want to be a healthy, complete man. But so where are you at now? What kind of man do you want to be? And what is it going to take to get there? And we don't have a prescription for them. You know, if Doug's working with a kid and the kid says, I want to be a baseball player, or I want to move out of this town because I hate it, Doug's not going to try and steer that kid in any particular direction. Just, well, tell me what it is you like about thinking about being a ball player. Tell me about why you want to leave town. Tell me about how that matches up with your idea of a great man. Because we know these kids, we don't think they're broken. That's one of the things we actually tell them. We're not here to fix you. We don't think you're broken.
I think one of the hardest things as an adult, sometimes you just want to tell a kid, oh, that's a bad idea.
Right.
You should do this.
Right.
When I was a kid, I did this and this is what worked. And they don't want to hear that. When they go to school, when they go to home, when they go to church, when they go to sports, everybody's telling them what to do. And we don't tell them what to do. And sometimes for me, it's one of the hardest parts, because you just sometimes you want to shake a kid or sometimes shake their parent.
Yeah, right.
And you should do this with your life, but we don't. We work with the basis. We listen, we accept, and we encourage. And it's all, and we model community, because everything we do is a group mentoring. So we don't do one-on-one mentoring like other organizations. So it's all, so we model men working as a community.
Nice.
And they get to see that.
That's so important right now with the
Yeah.
kids. They're shut down. They're in their phones. They're on the computers. They're by themselves. And they think, here's my community. It's on Facebook. Like, well, that's not a community. Those people aren't there to enrich your life.
Right.
That's digital nothingness. But the kids think this is all I need, and our society is becoming so singular now.
Right.
To show them what it's like to communicate. People don't know how to communicate anymore with other people. They don't even do it well on Twitter, let alone in person. They don't do it at all. So this is an incredibly valuable experience. And I like what you said. You can show them the whole range of what it is to be a healthy man, to show vulnerability. I mean, that went into the no way, we don't go there. 50 years ago. No, we don't do that. Don't show vulnerability. We're men.
Right.
You know, and then look where it got us.
Right.
So I like that you're able to show that to them. Look, you can be vulnerable. We can be communicative. We can work together. You know, all that stuff is so incredibly valuable, especially these days.
Absolutely. And what we say, what we hear from the young men at the end of an activity, whether it's the rite of passage weekend or just a creek cleanup or a ball game, we ask them to check out. Tell us your name one more time and what you're feeling right now. And most of the time they say, I feel relieved. I feel relieved. You're like, notice that you haven't been on your phone for 3 hours. I feel relieved.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a joy, and the ability to work with other men and supporting each other in this work. As Doug was saying, you know, I'm sure some of your viewers are thinking right now, it's like, how can you just accept whatever a kid says, or how can you not try and steer them in the right direction? And it is really challenging to just be in a real place of trust in that young person and to trust in the relationship. And if I had to do it alone, I know I would mess up. I know I would try and be more efficient and teach more and listen less. But knowing that the other men in the organization have my back and I have theirs, and we can kind of debrief later and be like, that was when that kid said he wanted to kill his stepdad, or like, that was tough.
Right.
Or I want to go work for the cartel.
Right.
Wow.
The one thing I've noticed over the last couple of years is sometimes the stories are getting, and we've talked about this, the stories are getting more horrific and more horrific, and they're becoming almost matter of fact. For some of the boys, not all of them. Some of the boys come to us and they have great lives, you know, and they're just looking to build, and they're just looking for community. And some other boys are more troubled than others, and we have to take all that in one circle. But they also, when they're in circle, they get to listen to these other boys. And I think as humans, we all compare ourselves. It's like, oh, well, boy, I'm not as bad as that kid, or and then on the other side, it's like, wow, I want to be more like that kid. So they're sitting in circle, they're in their own community, and they're learning from each other, and we're there to learn from them. Because I look at teenage boys, and I think we have a lot of stereotypes about teenage boys. It's like you say, they're in their computers, they're in this, they're singular. But what I found, and I see that, and that's my judgment, but what I found is, man, they're just looking for a chance to show what they're made of, and show their heart, and show their love, and show that they want to be a part of something, and something that's bigger than them.
Now we've got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. Go to boystomenaz.org if you want to check out the website. You can also give them a call at 928-362-0276 if you want to give them a call. We'll be right back because we have lots more to talk about, so don't go away.
Do you feel like people are avoiding you? Don't be a dreaded spreader. Protect yourself and those around you from flu. Here's 3 things you should do. Get a flu vaccine each year. Take everyday preventive actions to stop the spread of germs, like covering coughs and sneezes and washing your hands, and stay home if you're sick. If you do get the flu, contact a healthcare professional right away and take flu antivirals if prescribed. Don't be a dreaded spreader. Take 3 steps to fight flu.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter, your religion or, what part of the world you're from, that just sort of all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
Yo siento que soy parte de esa bendición que ese niño recibió al irse a su casa ya sanado.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Mandalay Homes introduces the new Ion series, a revolutionary new approach to home building innovation and energy management. Built on a foundation of industry-leading energy efficiency and sustainable building practices, the Ion Series home redefines how we use and manage renewable energy. Contact a Mandalay Home sales executive today to learn more, or visit one of our Ion Series communities throughout northern Arizona.
And welcome back to Countywide. We're talking about Boys to Men. Check out boystomenaz.org. We're talking with Charles Matthew. He's the Executive Director of Boys to Men Northern Arizona, also a volunteer chair on Boys to Men USA, and Doug Eagan, who is a volunteer with Boys to Men. You guys were sharing your stories about this. Now, the program is, there's parts to it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So tell us about that, Charles.
Great. Yeah. So if everybody, it's complex, but if we can remember, there's 4 parts. So the part that we're going to talk about a bunch in a second are the school-based circles, and those circles are groups. We call them circles because we talk about the power of the circle, the power of being able to see each other's back, the power of being able to see each other's faces. So the school-based circles happen once a week in area schools. That's happening in Sedona, Red Rock now on, what's the date for the?
On Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
We meet at Tuesdays at
so
11 o'clock.
Doug will meet with a group of 3 to 10 high
about
school
6,
kids.
yeah.
6. And same kids every week, talking about whatever issues are present for those kids. Sometimes Doug and his team will bring in a particular topic. But again, we're not trying to teach, we're not trying to cajole, we're just, what do you think? What's going on for you? So that's one part, these site-based circles. We've got 12 of them in the Quad Cities and 1 over here in the Verde Valley now, and we look to be starting 2 more at Mingus Union High School in the fall.
In the fall.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's one part, and that's part of that water on stone, slow, steady presence of men back in the lives of boys. The other steady presence are the A groups, or the adventure groups. And we're going to start doing those once a month here in the Verde Valley. So coming up this Saturday is the Verde River cleanup that we're helping organize with Friends of the Verde River. So we'd welcome boys age 13 to 18. Parents can drop them off at Dead Horse, and we'll hang out for 3 hours. We'll feed them a snack and get a bunch of work done. If you can imagine finding a shopping cart buried in the mud in a creek, you want middle schoolers to work on that project. So we do service projects like that. We'll do art, we'll do adventure, we'll go rock climbing, we'll go hiking, play ball, all just together with a relatively high ratio of men to boys, and that's what maintains that great community feeling. So those are the 2 water on stone parts, and then the 2 lightning in the bottle parts are the rite of passage weekend, which we talked about a fair bit before the break, and we do those twice a year and we're definitely looking for young men for the April Rite of Passage weekend coming up April 5th, 6th, and 7th.
5th, 6th, and 7th, yeah.
And they can call that phone number or go to the website. If you've got a 14 and up year old boy, grandson, nephew who's looking to take some steps toward manhood, that's a great opportunity for them. And then for the older boys who've done the Rite of Passage, again, the 4th part are the wilderness adventures, wilderness expeditions, which we do twice a year, backpacking up on the Mogollon Rim, mountain biking in Sedona, rock climbing, and that's so that young men can butt up against something bigger and more difficult than themselves and find out, kind of what they're made of a little bit, and get the good tidings from nature. There's a lot of hope and healing to be found there. Yeah. So those are the 4 parts of the program.
Excellent. Is there a cost to the program?
Oh, great question. All of those parts of the program, except for the Rite of Passage weekend, are free. So the adventure groups we never charge for. I don't know how we run backpacking trips without charging people, but
because you guys are so good at fundraising.
That's apparently what we do. We ask families to contribute on a sliding scale to the Rite of Passage weekend of between $50 and $250, and we'll do the fundraising to cover the rest. And if that $50 is too much for a family, we'll talk about it. We'll take care of it. We don't want money to get in the way of a young man having his Rite of Passage.
We never turn away a young man for lack of funds.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Now you keep talking about circles.
Right.
What's a circle?
Right. Why don't you
circle principle for generations and thousands of years, men and women, but we're going to mostly particularly talk about men here, sat in circle. When they held their council, they sat in circle. And there was a reason behind that. When you're sitting in a circle, there is no one leader. We are a group. We're all equal. And also, if you go back to ancient times, I'm looking, I got your back. I want to see if there's danger coming behind you. Back in, when we use the term saber-toothed tiger. If there's a saber-toothed tiger coming, I can see that saber-toothed tiger now. We don't have the saber-toothed tigers now, but we still have those energetic things that we all have each other's back. That's the principle of the circle, and you can all look into each other's eyes as opposed to classroom style, where you may have to look over here. I can see what's going on, and if I am one of the leaders in the circle or one of the mentors, I can see what's going on. I can judge I can judge the temperature of the room, who needs more attention, what's going on with this kid over here. So we can kind of judge. It's just a little bit easier, but it goes back to really ancient principles that we bring into a modern day setting.
Yeah. Oh, and nobody can hide. If a kid starts trying to pull back away from the circle, like, no, come on back up front here. No hiding. I can't even do anything if it's not in a circle.
You can't sit in the back of the class in a circle.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is true. Now, who are these boys that come into this program? Are we looking at children from tough situations? Are we looking at children from great situations? I mean, what are we looking at?
I'll talk about just the numbers real quick. The 40% of the kids in Yavapai County are growing up without their biological dad in the home, and so that's one of the gaps we're trying to fill. We're not trying to be a dad, but most of the boys that we work with, we don't recruit this way, but most of the boys that we work with are in that 40%. They're not growing up with their biological dad in the home. We're working with a bunch of kids from the foster care system, working with kids whose dads died, or there's some divorce going on, or they're struggling with their grades. And that's just who comes to us. We've also worked with boys from great intact families who are just struggling with some depression or some anxiety, or they think dad loves older brother more than them. So those are the kids that are coming to us. Frankly, we'd love to get to the place where every kid in the community is doing a Rite of Passage weekend. Every kid is out doing service with a group of men and learning from their sort of unofficial uncles and grandfathers in the community. We think every young man should be a part of that. But I don't know if you want to talk about some of the kids that you've been working with at Sedona Red Rock, what they've been
Well,
like.
we've got to take another quick break.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we've got lots more to talk about because I love that you're expanding your services in the Verde Valley to include Sedona Red Rock. Mingus Union High School is coming up soon. So all that good stuff that was over there in Prescott and blocked by that mountain is pouring over to this side now. So check out boystomenaz.org. Of course, they've got all kinds of things going on this Saturday, March 9th. The Friends of the Verde River is joining them at Dead Horse to do a cleanup. If you want to get involved with that, you can give them a call or go on the website, find out more information. We'll be right back, so don't go away.
What does it look like when a life is truly changed?
I feel a sense of accomplishment because I built a house. This house has brought us financial independence.
It's a great place to raise a family.
Strength, fuerza. When I look back where we've come from to where we are today, it makes my heart very happy.
Potential. Potencia.
For me, this house means all of us together.
Sorry. Together.
Security.
Security.
Every family dreams to have their own house. This house changed our lives.
Habitat for Humanity is at work in your community and around the world. Through shelter, we empower.
We develop quality citizens who keep our core, our country, and our communities side by side on the winning side. Not for glory, but for honor. For a code that isn't written or spoken, but lived. It's what we do. It's who we are. It's the battle cry of our fighting spirit. Battles won. See all the battles Marines fight to win at marines.com.
And welcome back to Countywide. Just a few minutes left. We're talking about Boys to Men. Check out boystomenaz.org. We've got Charles with us. We've got Doug with us. Now, you're expanding more into the Verde Valley. So you've got things happening at Sedona Red Rock High. Things are going to be happening at Mingus Union High School. So what do you need now that you're growing? You need more of something.
We need more mentors. We need mentors. We need mentors that are willing to step up and have a little flexibility in their time to help these young men out. And anybody can call me if they want to know more about it. I'll sit down and have a cup of coffee with them. We do training sessions, so it's not like you're just going to jump in and not know what to do, because there's certain things that we look for. And one of them is not to, be that guy that wants to shake up this kid and tell him what to do. So just have them call me.
Sure. Listen more, teach less would be like the motto for the mentor. If you want to call Doug, he's given us his number, 970-209-4293, 970-209-4293. If you want to be a mentor on this side of the area in the Verde Valley, Doug's your man for things going on with Sedona Red Rock High. You've got a group there every Tuesdays at 11. If they want to find out how to get involved with that, do they go to the website?
If they want it, they can go to the website, or they can go talk to the counselor at the school.
Okay, talk to the school counselor.
Yep.
Okay, great, awesome. What else is going on?
Well, we're really pleased to announce a partnership with Full Circle Girls Becoming Women, which is our literal sister organization. For years in the Quad Cities and around the country, folks have been saying, well, what about the girls? And we've been saying, well, when the women are ready to make something happen, it'll happen. So now there'll be a girls' circle at Mingus Union High School in the fall, operating under the same principles with that listen, accept, encourage, run by local volunteers. And we'll have 4 other girls' circles over in the Quad Cities. So we're definitely looking for a couple more mentors, female mentors on this side of the mountain.
Very good.
Right.
Now, if they're interested in that, where can they find more information about that?
Right now, they can go and use the Boys to Men AZ website and click on the Be a Mentor link and send information there, and we'll make sure it gets. It's really easy because my wife is in charge of Full Circle, so there's good communication there. So it's going to work out really well. Yeah.
I like that you've got that all worked out.
Yep. She's at one end of the couch on the laptop. I'm at the other end of the couch working on stuff. So
that's wonderful.
It's good.
We have about 30 seconds left. What's the best thing about your job, Charles?
The best thing about my job, other than hearing a kid say, I feel relieved at the end of an activity, is getting to meet and work with other guys in the community. It's really rewarding. It's been, I grew up without meaningful male role models in my life, and now I have them. It's a little bit later for me, but it's great.
Sounds good. Doug, how about you?
For me, the most rewarding thing is when I have a boy come up and say, thanks for listening to me. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah.
And it's like, you're welcome.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, thank you for the job you're doing, both of you. Thank you for the impact you're making on the community this way. And thank you for expanding to the Verde Valley.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate that. If you want more information on how to be involved, how to become a mentor, how to volunteer, perhaps get involved in one of the fundraising programs or anything like that, check out boystomenaz.org, or you can give them a call, 928-362-0276. Of course, if you want to get Doug's number because you're over here in the Verde Valley, 970-209-4293. That's all the time we have left for Countywide. We'll see you again next time.